This is Kenny Nguyen, promoter of PlantCon Orlando and PlantCon International.
Yes.
Kenny, tell me a little bit about PlantCon.
Yeah, PlantCon is a convention about plants, and it's for everybody. We have common plants for people who have never owned a plant before, and then we have tropical, rare, exotic plants for really seasoned collectors as well. So it covers a whole spectrum for the entire hobby, essentially.
Okay. How'd you come up with the idea of PlantCon? Have you done something like this before, or is this your first?
We were doing Houston Plant Market originally. It started in November of 2020. The plant community was booming, but a lot of people were kind of enjoying the hobby in isolation in a sense, because taking care of plants can honestly be a little bit isolating. So in order to kind of bring the community together, I wanted to start organizing meetups so that people could get together, talk about plants, hang out, and then eventually from there people started getting laid off from their jobs, and so they started turning to alternative sources of income like soap making, candle making, even growing and selling plants. So we formalized it into a market that could help people sustain a living through this pandemic, and from there it grew. Eventually we had about 70 to 80 vendors every month at a plant market. The city of Houston contracted us to do some markets for them, and that's when we realized, like, this is something really valuable and clearly important, and if we can expand this to other communities in an even bigger capacity, we could accomplish a lot and really help the industry of like horticulture and houseplants move forward.
Awesome. So when did the plant market become PlantCon?
It was about, the first PlantCon was in May of 2023, so in 2 months PlantCon will be about 2 years old, so it's still very young, but we started planning it in about November of 2022.
Cool. So there's PlantCon Houston, PlantCon Orlando. Where else do you have PlantCon?
Yeah, so we did our first one in Houston. It went so well that we doubled the size, had another one. It was really successful. People loved it, and so we decided, let's try another city. We didn't want to go too far out of state, so we went to Dallas, and Dallas had even more success than Houston, and so at that point we realized, I think we were ready to take this on the road, out of the state, to Orlando. So we're here now in Orlando, and our roadmap for the rest of the year, we have New York City lined up. We have on our roadmap LA, Atlanta, Chicago are all in the works for probably 2026. But later this year, we still have coming up Houston, New York City, and Dallas.
Cool. So now, how many vendors? You start off with 80 vendors. How many vendors do you have as of today?
We have here over 110 booths. Some of the vendors booked too, and so we have about 80 to 90 different businesses represented here today, which to us is really special coming into Orlando, brand new really. The support that the vendors showed for something like this coming to their area, even though we hadn't had a previous relationship with this area, their willingness to just jump on board, support this, and really push it forward has helped this become an incredibly successful event.
Cool. So when you started planning PlantCon Orlando, how far in advance, how long did it take you to put together a show in a state so far from where you're from Texas?
Our team moves pretty quickly. I think we're pretty agile, so we made the decision to come to Orlando in, I think, late November, and so that was just last year, and now we're in February, and so I mean it was about a 4-month turnaround from the time that we decided to start looking for a venue to executing it today.
Cool. As far as your vendors, are your vendors from across the country? Are the vendors here in Orlando, are they mostly Floridian vendors? What's your vendor like, your vendor group like at the show?
We have so many different vendors here. We have ones that started their businesses with us in 2020 and are here today with us with big elaborate setups, and so they've started investing in this business and growing their business and following us everywhere we go. we couldn't have done it without the support of the Floridian growers, though. Florida is the horticultural capital of the world.
Okay.
So we knew we had to come here, and the minute we did, everybody was on board immediately. We have people from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and a lot of local people in Orlando that are happy to have an event up in the North and Central Florida area. Most plant stuff happens in like South Florida and Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
So it's kind of an underrepresented market in the Orlando area. And then we also have sellers from Indonesia, Thailand, Ecuador. So that is the part that makes PlantCon international. One day we hope to go overseas, but right now we have a huge representation of businesses.
Cool. So I know in Orlando we have, well, I don't know how many, but I know there's a lot of farms. Did any of them are any of them here? Like, are they any kind of partners? Like, when they found out that you were coming to town, like, was there any kind of reaching out, I guess?
Yeah. We have been working with Costa Farms and Gabriella Plants. Costa Farms is one of the largest distributors of plants in the United States, and they have a massive growing operation with one greenhouse based out of Apopka. So they actually opened up their greenhouses to us to bring a tour group through, tour their facilities, and not just them. Jerus is an international operation as well. AgriStarts is a tissue culture operation that's also very widely wholesale. And then also Equigenera, Gabriella Plants, they all have large facilities here in the Orlando area, and they opened up their spaces for us to come view that and visit. And so it became a very all-inclusive event, and they were very welcoming and very excited that PlantCon was here in this area.
Cool. As far as plants at the PlantCon, what is the variations? Do you have like house plants, outdoor plants? Do you have edible plants? Is it a little bit of everything?
Yeah, we have everything here. We have edible plants for people who are just starting their garden. It's the perfect time in February to start. We have outdoor plants that you can put on the ground, decorative, and then we also have a lot of house plants, bonsai, orchids, cacti, carnivorous plants. Really any plant that you can name is represented here at PlantCon. And that's what makes it so cool. You don't have to visit an orchid show. You don't have to visit a bonsai show. You can come to PlantCon where you have it all.
Everything.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So this is your first PlantCon in Orlando. Have you thought of a date for next year already, or for Orlando?
Yeah, I think we're looking at next year.
Thank you.
Things we need to like debrief as a team, get together, see how things are, and then we'll make our decision and make an announcement.
Okay, cool. All right, Kenny. Well, thank you. If you have any last words, you can say them now.
I mean, keep an eye out for PlantCon coming to your area. We're a young team. We're growing fast, and we're trying to stay on top of this wave, loop in a younger generation of growers and hobbyists into a hobby that has historically been kind of dominated by an older generation. So we're trying to bring these two worlds together and be a bridge for both sides to connect and shepherd in the next generation of growers. Great.
And lastly, where can people find out about PlantCon? Where can people find all your information?
You can go to plantcon.org and find everything there, information about upcoming dates, tickets, really anything you need, plantcon.org.
Cool. All right, Kenny, thank you.
Thank you.